Enhanced security measures announced for Clarendon and St. Catherine. Disaster assistance response team deployed to the Bahamas, and electricity for St. Paul's Lane. You're tuned to Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. The safety and security of citizens took priority for Prime Minister Andrew Holness last week, which led him to declare a state of public emergency for Clarendon and St. Catherine. He explained that the strategy was to curtail criminal activities in these areas, particularly murders, which he said were mainly gang-related.
The government is not using the state of public emergency as a substitute for regular policing. What the state of emergency does is to provide a respite in the number of crimes, in particular murders, that are taking place. It helps to expand the number of law enforcement personnel that we have on the ground. It helps to restrict the free movement of the criminal enterprise. And then that gives regular policing an increased ability to do their work.
Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said the murder rate for Clarendon had reached 100 since the start of the year. The St. Catherine South Police Division meanwhile recorded 91 murders, and there were 66 in the St. Catherine North Police Division. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness defended the effectiveness of the state of public emergency. He cited major reduction of murder in areas under the SOE, such as St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. Andrew South.
You will see from how we have operated that we have been very strategic and very deliberate in the things that we are doing. And it has had an effect, it has had an impact.
73 legal guns and 4,500 rounds of ammunition were also recovered in St. James since January. In response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas, on Thursday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness deployed an advance response team to the country. On Saturday, Prime Minister Holness deployed the Disaster Assistance Response Team DART, comprising 120 Jamaica Defence Force soldiers. They were accompanied by 11 members of the Royal Canadian Air Force, which provided airlift support.
This DART team is prepared to assist generally in anything that the Bahamian government may need, for which we are equipped. But in the initial stages, the focus will be on recovery, logistics, if there is need for medical assistance, and any emergency engineering assistance.
Prime Minister Holness was in the St. Paul's Lane community on Wednesday for the commissioning of power line extension. Following the distribution of power lines, over 500 residents in the St. Andrew West Central community will benefit from the re-electrification of their homes.
Some of you have built homes there where the wiring is not up to standard to take the JPS electricity. And we have made provisions to assist those households to rewire, to bring your electrical wiring up to standard so that you can genuinely take the JPS electricity supply.
The project was financed through the Constituency Development Fund and the National Energy Solution (NESOL). Mr. Holness said the regularization of electricity is part of a greater development plan for the area to regularize informal development.
We're going to build housing solutions equivalent or better to what you have. And we will find a way to make sure that you can afford those housing solutions by respecting and acknowledging the equity. That means the value that you have already put down in block and steel in your community.
Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz, met with representatives of the Bernard Lodge Enterprise team on Wednesday. The meeting also included the National Environment and Planning Agency and Water Resources Authority. It was convened to discuss, among other things, public sensitization on the proposed development of approximately 1,600 housing solutions on lands in Bernard Lodge, St. Catherine. The project will be located on the northern boundary of the Highway 2000 Road Reservation. In the meantime, Minister Vaz is now in Geneva, Switzerland, representing Jamaica's interest at the United Nations Trade Forum. The September 9 to 13 event is being held under the umbrella of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. On Wednesday, the Prime Minister expressed sincere condolences to the family, friends and colleagues of former Member of Parliament Lawrence Laurie Broderick. Mr. Broderick, who was also a lawyer, passed away early in the day. Mr. Holness said the island lost another great public servant who made a significant contribution to the nation. Prime Minister Holness's week also included a few courtesy calls. First was High Commissioner of Rwanda, Valentine Rogwabiza. They discussed collaboration in areas such as tourism, agriculture, science and new technologies, among others. The Prime Minister also met with members of the business community, Gas and Azan on Tuesday, and representatives from Digital Group on Thursday. A day before, Mr. Holness met with representatives from UNICEF and the champions from the National Reading Competition. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us again next time for more news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.